we go. Hour 2. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, I am live in rainy and wet Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor is joining me. It is great to be here today.
Good morning.
It's great to be here today. So, I said something yesterday on the show, and I'm America's media icon, so I say stuff and everybody reacts to it. So I said yesterday on the show, I said, it's going to be not just cold in Kansas City.
Arctic blast.
They're calling it an Arctic blast. Minus 15 wind chill. I've been in minus. In college, I was in minus 4. It's just different. It's different that I skied a couple of weeks ago in 11 degrees. It's no big deal. It's going to be 25 degrees colder than that. Okay, so I've skied in cold. I'm in cold. Wrap up. You're fine. And by the way, when I skied and it was 11 degrees, it was really cold. The rest of my family wouldn't ski. Everybody's like, I'm not going outside. And that's with hot chocolate, ski mat. I'm not going outside. So I said this yesterday on the show, and the Kansas City Chiefs are trolling me. Go ahead and play it. Arrowhead's considered one of the loudest stadiums in America. College or pro, it'll be 9 below. Everybody's going to be wearing a ski mask. People aren't going to be standing and cheering. They're going to be huddled, wearing wool, trying to stay warm, wearing something over their mouths. Home field advantage via the crowd. Done. Now, I will say people will stand. I mean, if for no other reason they've heard that and they'll stand. I wouldn't, but they will. But if I'm crazy, you do realize at minus 15 degrees, nobody should have their face uncovered. Like this is dangerous. So let me ask you how crazy I am with my talk. I brought out on the set, it's actually Chicago Cubs, a muffler. This is what people will be wearing.
Wait, it's a scarf.
It's a scarf. It is the same exact fabric of a ski mask, a scarf, and people are going to be all wrapped up. You tell me if this sounds the same. MVP! MVP!
It's not going to be in their mouth.
Okay. Yeah! Tom Brady! You're not very good! Tom Brady! You don't think volumes change? I'm not sticking this in my mouth. I'm simply putting it over my mouth.
I understand the concept of what you're saying.
You think I'm crazy?
No, I don't. I think if it was very cold, but it wasn't an Arctic blast,
it
might
an
not
Arctic
affect
blast.
The volume of the fans.
Again, you and I have been in 4 degrees. You and I
was in Kansas City with Earl for Thanksgiving when there was a blizzard there.
And it was
very, very cold.
It was like 7 degrees.
I don't know how cold it was, but it was a legitimate blizzard.
Minus 15.
And the airport was shut down. So however cold it needs to do that.
So just tell me, you don't think there's a change in volume? Because what a crowd does is it takes away the audible system.
Right, but there's also people that go out there with no shirts on.
That's not going to happen.
You don't think there'll be one maniac with no shirt on?
Well, there's always a drunk. Yeah, there's probably 8 of them. Kansas City likes its beer. Just, what does this sound like? Yeah!
You are a maniac.
I think I'm right.
Very scientific experiment.
Yes,
it
really was. Listen, the environment there is going to be as loud.
Oh, you think so?
As pumped up and ruckus as it can possibly be in that weather. However much the weather is going to affect the fans yelling and screaming. People are going to be yelling and screaming. I'm not saying it's a library. You're almost going to have to stand because sitting is really actually a bad idea when it's that cold.
I'm not saying it's a library. I'm not saying it's going to be like a home game. I'm just saying minus 15.
Some people are going to have some things over their face, yes.
Some people, any of them with an IQ higher than ranch dressing, will cover their face. I wouldn't let my kids go to a game and not cover their face.
But I mean, when something's going, when they're in the middle of a drive, you take your ski mask down, you take your thermal cover down, you yell. It's actually better when it's cold to stay up and stay moving.
Yeah, this is what you do. You take it down for like a second, and you're like, what am I doing? I'm telling you.
Anyone from Kansas City watching this right now is very upset with you. And they're going to make it a point because you're saying this to try and be as loud as possible.
Well, as America's media icon, this is
People get very sensitive about what you say.
I know.
And you didn't fire back at Nick there. He said that you guys were equal,
Let's have fun. All right, 4 or 5 years, we were on this big thing. For 4 or 5 years, I kept hearing this argument. Aaron Rodgers, GOAT, Brady second. Or Brady 1, Rodgers 2, greatest all time. Apparently, Joe Montana, John Elway never existed. Peyton Manning never existed. I always said, what? You do get that, like, Tom Brady's got a room in his house full of trophies. That's a stupid argument. And then I said something during the middle of this year, and I said, and it was perceived as a hot take. I said, the 8 best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. It's not just about Super Bowls. This is about talent, playoffs, records, your impact to the league, your impact in the city. What did you overcome? What did you play with? The 8 best quarterbacks I've seen. And again, there's a lot of different. It's Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, John Elway, Dan Marino, Aikman, and Brees. Now, people said, well, you're just saying Troy Aikman. No. Leadership, playing hurt, toughness, dominating a great division when Washington, Giants, and Dallas were power. Those are 8 best quarterbacks. But the one that got people worked up is Drew Brees. It was a hot take. Was Aaron Rodgers. And I said, he's right on the outside, right next to Brett Favre and Steve Young, and maybe Dan Fouts. And isn't it interesting, I'm crazy hot take, right? I was, whoa, and I said, no, let's talk about impact to a city. Whereas Aaron Rodgers was given a championship roster, a championship-level head coach, and championship momentum in front office, Drew Brees was given the Cleveland Browns with a port, Katrina, Bountygate. One guy was given the laughing stock of the league that had 1 playoff win in the history of the franchise. The other player was given, arguably, the most iconic franchise in the NFL, with championship-level players, great momentum, terrific front office, very good head coach. So that's not close. Also, let's go through 4 or 5 things. If Drew Brees wins this weekend and goes to the Super Bowl, and they are favored, and, most people like the Saints. If Drew Brees gets to the Super Bowl, and if he does against Kansas City or New England, that again is going to be a field goal game. If Drew Brees wins the Super Bowl, and again, they're favored at home this weekend to get there. Super Bowl titles against Aaron? Check Brees. NFL records? Not close. Check Brees. Impact on a franchise? Drew Brees, folks, is the Saints. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is arguably not the Packers' best quarterback ever. Impact on a franchise is not close. Leadership qualities. Well, I don't know. One guy has former teammates constantly calling him out. One guy is revered, where 300-pound offensive linemen literally, do we have the piece of tape? This is what happened when an offensive lineman, Zach Strief, retired recently.
For the past 8 years, I've played in front of the most prolific passer in NFL history. Drew Brees has been the single greatest motivation for me as a player. My greatest drive as a player was not to let you down. You're the greatest leader I've ever been around, and I admire you so much as a player, but more as a person. I will miss being around you on a daily basis. Thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do.
Leadership, check Brees. By the way, I'll just throw this one out here. On his way to a Super Bowl, do you remember that year? Drew Brees beat Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer Brett Favre, and Peyton Manning. Rodgers' Super Bowl run beat Michael Vick, Matt Ryan, and Caleb Haney before beating Big Ben. You thought 6, 8, 10 weeks ago that was a hot take. The hot take today, if Brees gets to another Super Bowl, is Aaron Rodgers is all-time better than Drew Brees. Does impact to a franchise matter? Does leadership matter? Does Super Bowl titles matter? Do regular season records matter? Gang, it ain't close. It ain't close. It is a hot take to say the opposite of Drew Brees will elevate above Aaron Rodgers. Slam dunk. I will have my picks Friday. We are 8-0 straight up. It's a very good feeling. I'm not going to lie.
So you're feeling confident because you're 8-0?
MVP. Oh, wait, time out. Oh, wait, time out. We got an update. John, we have breaking news.
Breaking news.
Okay, what's the breaking news?
I don't think the Arctic blast will be as Arctic as originally anticipated.
What are they saying?
It's like probably going to be in the teens at game time.
Oh, well, hell, the whole thing doesn't matter.
There's some wind, so maybe a little lower than that.
It's going to be in the teens?
It's not going to be negative 15.
So they went from Arctic blast to La Jolla in a week.
With the wind chill, is it going to be lower?
No, I don't think it'll be that. It'll still be cold, but it won't be that bad.
Because that's really what it is. It's cold, and then the wind chill is what drops
if it's
it.
There's a high of 21 that day and a low of 16. And it's a night game,
God,
so it'll be.
That means nothing.
That's like basically paradise.
This is why meteorologists should be seen and not heard. One day they go from worst weather in the world to Bermuda shorts.
That's kind of their job, to make sure that they keep it updated.
That's why when the weather comes,
bad meteorologists if they were like, yeah, that's the prediction. We'll see what happens.
You want to know the sound you hear at my house when the weather guy comes on? Click.
We live in California. This is like the longest it's rained ever in the history of the world in California.
One day and the weather changed.
That's what weather does.
Can you imagine being a sports guy going on and giving all the scores wrong? A weather guy locally goes on, Arctic blast, hour later,
how it works.
30.
We should be appreciative that they've updated it. This should change how we feel about the outcome of the game.
I followed 7 weather guys on Twitter. I'm unfollowing all of them.
So that was an overreaction.
They're making crap up. Coldest day ever. Just kidding. Be 28.
I'll admit it was a drastic swing, but maybe that weather front is moving out.
From Arctic blast to wear a polo shirt. You're all good.
I mean, it's not that much. It's still going to be cold.
Teens, 18's nothing. 18's nothing.
It's kind of reasonable.
All right. Bob Glauber, NFL columnist for Newsday in New York. Jet stuff, all sorts of new hire stuff. He's got a new book out called Guts and Genius. That's coming up next. Listen, there's a lot of smart moves you can make in